All right, so Kyler Phillips, Nevada State Athletic Commission, Osbourne. It is what it is. He's been, missing from action for some time, and now Kyler Phillips gets a big-time opportunity against one of those guys, the former RFA champ, Raoni Barcelos. And we made a whole video about Raoni taking a fight not that long after getting knocked out, but not that far away either. I mean, the fight that he was supposed to have against Miles Johns back in June. Johns out of that fight. No dance partner for Raoni, so ultimately he gets to move it forward and take on Kyler Phillips. And that's great for your brain health, not necessarily for a guy that's 36 at 135, for anybody, but a good opportunity in this one because for Raoni, you know how good the striking is. The Muay Thai, the leg kicks, they're awesome. He's trained with Pedro Hizzo for the longest time. He trains with, Davi Ramos, his jiu-jitsu coach at Atos BJJ over there in Rio. And you can see it here. I mean, that's a crazy gym. Adolfo Vieira in some of those pictures on the Instagram for Kyler Phillips MMA Lab at 135. Sean O'Malley is going to fight Aljamain Sterling. So this one should be an awesome fight because for Barcelos, I talk about it every single time Raoni Barcelos fights. Who's his dad? Well, if you don't know his dad's name's Laerte Barcelos. And why do I say that? Because dad was a wrestling champ down in Brazil. Raoni was a wrestling champ in Brazil. Raoni was a jiu-jitsu champ before he got into MMA. Raoni's one of those guys that if he could go back into a time machine and when he was 23, 24 years old, you said, hey, get to the States, fight a lot, get into the big promotion, or get yourself noticed. Maybe it's a Walid Ismail or a Lucas Lukas or somebody that could have fast-tracked Raoni into the UFC like 10 years sooner than he actually got in. Because maybe he did get in a little bit late, and maybe it has kind of worn on him a little bit. You saw him get finished in disgusting fashion by Umar Nurmagomedov his last time out. That kind of double cock, and it's over. He gets finished. He beat Trevin Jones, who was a shell of himself, so it seemed in that fight. Losing to Victor Henry, who came in on short notice. Losing to Timur Valiev, who just lost to Brad Katona. Like, that really happened. So some crazy stuff there, but when I do look at this one, I don't want to discredit the age too much for Barcelos because if I'm not mistaken, I picked him to beat Miles Johns not that long ago. But when I do look at a guy like Kyler Phillips, my question is, remember the fight that he had against Hadley and Paiva? I mean, I know for Phillips, yeah, that one was kind of a chintzy decision, but the Marcelo Rojo fight, he looked amazing. That's a primary striker who struggles in the grappling and so on. You know the fight against Song Yadong that he won. Cameron Else, it was too much too soon, and that fight did not go well for Else. Gabriel Silva, he got the win. Where is Gabriel Fly Silva? The younger brother of the forever prospect Eric Silva, and so on and so forth. But and of course, former common opponent Victor Henry, both those guys with losses to him. But when you do look at this fight, I mean, for Kyler Phillips, he's so dynamic on the ground to go along with a great striking arsenal. It's just, for Raoni, where's his durability at? I agree with Raw Torque. Well, not necessarily that comment. Brad Katona is a guy from Winnipeg. He's been in Ireland forever. You're going to pick up the accent. I'm completely fine with that. But Prince Vegeta's son, Barcelos looks like a great value Jose Aldo. Kind of fights like it too. Unless he decides to grapple a little bit more. So if you do look at this one, I mean, Phillips is really tough out for anybody. We know that. He was originally supposed to take on Rafael Assunção. You had the Nevada State Athletic Commission stuff. The fight falls out. Assunção fights Davy Grant. And the rest is history, ladies and gentlemen. So I do have a hard time with this fight on my own. So I'll have a quick look over on Tapology. You do have the favorite being Kyler Phillips in this one. You have a look at the Tapology votes. 1,690 of them. 83% for Kyler Phillips. Majority by decision. And 75% of the 17% that have Barcelos to win by decision. You have a look at Matt's pick. Matt's pick on this one, he's going with Kyler Phillips to get the win. I like the length of a guy like Kyler Phillips, which he actually doesn't have a crazy advantage when it comes to his height, but you see that reach advantage, and if you can make a guy miss, that is a big differential. Kyler Phillips is a guy that strikes quite a bit from the outside. The thing that scares me about Kyler Phillips in this one, and it does a little bit against Alamabayev earlier on in the card, Alamabayev's got great spin kicks to the body and to the head, but just like his punches, Alamabayev leaves himself out there, and if you miss big, sometimes you can get cracked big too on the return, especially on a pullback, and Kyler Phillips could leave himself susceptible. He's been out for a very long time. The last time that we saw Kyler Phillips, and again, it has been a while, he beat Marcelo Rojo way back in February of 2022. So for Phillips, still a young man, trains at a great gym, But this is going to be a really, really stiff test in Raoni Barcelos. So an awesome fight at 135. I love this one. Both of us going with Kyler Phillips in the fight. And we move it forward to an awesome one at 155 pounds. Chile's Ignacio Bahamondes taking on Klein. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.